Hello everybody. Welcome back. Today I've got to clear up some loose ends. And then oh, I've got a cool hat on. Yeah. Today some loose ends. First though, I want to check something with Andre. He's still here. So we did get Logan's scroll off of the random NPC in the Profaned Capitol, just hanging out. So let's read that before we give that up. Secret scroll of the Profaned Capitol Court sorcerers, containing sorceries of Logan. Give to a sorcerer to learn Logan's sorceries. The court sorcerer used this scroll to claim heirship to Logan's legacy, though how that claim stands up to closer scrutiny is another story. So, some of the little politics going on with the sorcery schools, considering Melfia is now gone again, and Venheim has reclaimed its place as top dog. We have the Profaned Capitol, which has its own sorcery school, and they are also somewhat oracles. They might be the descendant of the Melfia school, which also look to the stars and stuff like that with the astrologer armor. So the Profaned Capitol might have some of that going on, and then they claimed bits of Logan's legacy because the biggest prize of all is being the legacy of Logan. You also have the Crystal Sages, who also claim the legacy of Logan as their own. And then you have Venheim, who thinks they deserve it too. And then you have Sulyvahn, who has trapped them all and is trying to take the legacy unto himself because he's super greedy. So that's where we are with the politics going on there between the sorcerer schools. But you don't really see any conclusion to all of that. But it is in the background as part of the world today that all of the sorcery schools are kind of at each other's throats. All of them trying to claim that they are the most Ivy League of the Ivy League. Sort of like Yale and Harvard trying to compete with one another. Trying to say that they're the best and that they are better than the other one, or they deserve more than the other one. There's a parable in there, but let's go get Karla, because we do need to get Karla. It does somewhat require a whole lot of backtracking here and there. I do like how the god rays filter in. It's very, very neat. It's just kind of landmarking there. Alright, he opened that up on me. No, I don't need that one. I need the other one. And yeah, you can see the effect that their curse thing has against you. It is very similar to the curse out of Dark Souls 2. And as we remember, there are mechanics in Dark Souls 2 that don't have meters and aren't called the same thing. But the curse thing that the jailers do is mechanically the same to Dark Souls 2's curse meter thing. Except probably even a bit more punitive. Am I wearing a Fat Minister hat?
Apologies for mistaking him for one of those leeches. So, what business have you here? This is a land of monstrosities. And I am no exception.
And again, as probably the preeminent or the only member of her school left that Sulyvahn can find, she ended up here because Sulyvahn wants her abilities. He wants to dissect her abilities because maybe somewhere in the middle he can find the way to make somebody a dragon. Loki just ran in here, wagging his tail.
You're here to save me. But I'm guilty. A wretched child of the Abyss. Is that something you can forgive?
Aren't we all children of the Abyss?
Oh, really? You are no ordinary woman. Very well. Besides, I've grown tired of imprisonment. I am Karla, and I accept your proposal.
Loki has just climbed into my lap. He's a good boy. Yeah? You would save Karla too? So a little story, especially if you don't know Demon Souls, if you skipped it or you missed it or something. Karla is the original Yuria of the franchise. In Demon Souls, she is wearing the ragged coat, which you can find on Stockpile Thomas's daughter or something. So she might have something to do with Stockpile Thomas, she might not, but whatever. And Karla is a specific version of sorcerer in Demon Souls. She is imprisoned in a tower with a fat minister in front of her jail cell. And the only way you can get to her jail cell is by wearing a fat minister's cap, which allows the fat minister holding her jail cell to open up the way to you, because he thinks you're a fat minister for some reason. It's like Clark Kent syndrome. Let's just go with it. And so when you get up there, he's not aggroed until you kill him, and then you, if you have the fat minister hat on and you talk to Yuria, she's like, oh, she mistakes you for one of them too, just like Karla does here. It follows pretty much exactly the same story beats. And then you take off the Fat Minister cap and then you save her. She doesn't peace out because that's not Demon Souls, but like she finds her way back to the Nexus too, and she also she teaches you her specific spells, which makes Frake a little jealous because he's like, man, but she's a woman, and I want woman spells, and because Frake is all about power and stuff like that. So that's the big reference with Karla, because they follow pretty much exactly the same story beats. Karla is very similar in that too, except she now is a child of the Abyss. But she has her own version of magic now too. She's basically one of the heretical witches, probably like Beatrice and Zuli. We've got some other things to pick up in the dungeon, so let's do that. In this game, she basically is your hexer dealer, and dark pyromancer dealio. And again, now that I have a bit of time to check this out, you can see the jailer's cloaks on top of the cramped cages. This is not aggro. Mean. And in fact, some of there are jailers themselves. Which bodes the question, if the jailers themselves are the jailed, who's watching who? That's the major change for this model, because it is different from the model Undead Settlement, that these guys are jailers within. And Motsky, how's it going? Is there anything else I need to pick up? I picked up the ashes. You're one of the early birds. Alright, so I think that's everything up here, so let's go back down. I did everything on the side except get the Eleonora. These guys aren't all pointed in the same direction, are they? No, there's one. How did that last one miss? Can you drop me or... No? Fine. I'd love to get his gargoyle thing. Hammer. Type doohickey. Kind of just looking at these statues, wondering if there's any like similarities. We'll be going down there soon. Actually, maybe now, because I don't really... Let's go try and get the Eleonora. The struggle. When you don't really want to, but the lore. Nope. The best thing here is that these guys, I think, are single spawns. Oh, I totally... Okay, that's the Eleonora. And some dung pies. The rest are not worth the pixels they're drawn. But let's take a look at the Eleonora, whose major claim to fame is to be traded in to the crows for a hollow gem. A strange weapon found among malformed inhabitants of the Profaned Capitol. The Profaned flame was triggered by the curse of these women, relatives of a certain oracle. But despite their culpability, they went on living without any cares. Feast bell. Hold up axe and emit wave of solemn chime to temporarily make weapons lacerating and to restore HP for each hit. This gives a bleed auxiliary to make weapons. It gives the bleed auxiliary to weapons in the effect, and it restores HP. It is, I've never heard it being a good weapon, technically, but that's an important piece of lore with regards to the Profaned Flame, triggered by the curse of these women. People tend to make the connection that it is the oracle they were talking about is Alsana. But they might just be cousins or daughters of Manus. Also, the fact that they look like six-fingered babes. Remember, like, an extra finger was one of the, quote, telltale signs that you were a witch back in ye olden times. You get purging stones out of that. Hooray. Which apparently they were worshipping like an altar, to be fair. And considering how important a purging stone is, yeah, whatever, toxic, whatever. The poison swamps, they've evolved. It's now a toxic swamp. Side note, the only other toxic swamp is the boss arena for Maiden Astraea in Demon Souls. Just standing on it gives you the plague, and it is kind of dumb. Just a little bit. Get out your white lotuses. If anybody was interested to, I don't think I can proc it without having the strength. Note that it is a strength axe. It is kind of nuts, actually. It's a strength axe. Requires a 20. But that's that. Again, with the Dark Souls thing about women are weird and different. Try jumping. Just gonna rate that good because there is a dearth of these messages. This light is up there really not for anything but that there's a ring in New Game Plus. Like right where the message is up there. We're not dealing with each other there. Camera's freaking out. Aggroing 2 is like the worst thing you can do. Yay! Gargoyle Flame Spear, awesome. Stone Torch Spear, wielded by gargoyles of the Profaned Capitol. The Profaned Flame, which never goes out, imbues this weapon with a fire attack. Skill, Kindled Charge. Hold spear at waist and charge at foe, and use momentum to transition to a fiery, strong attack. Ooh, excuse me. That's fun. I used a bit too many resources though, but this is an item grab expedition, I guess. I wonder what they're looking at, really. Like, why are they turned that way? Side note, I'm like actually really sad that their specific armor isn't for PCs. Like, I'd want the white version. Like, they're just kind of staring at crap. Yeah, I mean, the one thing I can think of is that they got aggroed when you came across the bridge, and they like turned towards it because of the gargoyle on the bridge. But like, they just stand there. They just stay there. Look at this guy thinking he's all cool. Oof. Hey, that's pretty lucky. Not many enemies outside of Demon Souls have blue eyes, by the way. Good night, fellows. God, I love the animation on mimic chests, especially in 3. So good. So we picked up the Greatshield of Glory, which, as I pointed out in Dark Souls 2, is held by one of the big dragon guys. The big dragon armor guys. A great shield adorned with flowing patterns. It's only on one of them too. It's on the one right before the petrified egg. A great shield adorned with flowing patterns, a celebration of an ancient glory. Boasts the highest stability of such shields, but with reduced stamina regeneration speed. Perhaps it is glory that begets indolence. Shield bash. Without lowering your guard, strike the enemy with the shield to knock them back or stagger them. Works while equipped in either hand. Funny thing about the Dragon Shrine is that if you go through the Dragon Shrine honorably, quote-unquote, none of the Dragonoids will attack you. So it is that indolence that allows you to go kill the get to the ancient dragon and potentially kill him because they aren't paying attention. Well, because they were quote-unquote honorable. 5k, so let me go level up a little bit. More or less just dump the souls and come back and deal with Yhorm. Back when this game first started, I used Yhorm as like my Sunbros Central. Bump my faith one. Hey, Lurks. How's it going? Nice to see you. We were just tying up some loose ends. Picking up Karla. We're about to go fight Yhorm.
As I said, I am Karla, and I'm grateful to you. Now, what shall we do? The only thing that might interest you is my sorcery. Although my dark arts are a detestable sort, that wouldn't interest you. You did it.
Really? Tell me more.
You're a wicked one, aren't you? Very well. Humans are the dark, and you are no different. Some may avert their eyes, but the truth remains the truth.
Same.
Be careful though.
Like, I like the ideas in it a lot. I like the idea of a single weapon.
Be a secret.
I like when you complete What's-His-Face's quest correctly, he shows up. I don't know. There's a lot of gimmick fights across the entire franchise, so like, I don't fault them for, quote, gimmick fights, but... She starts off with the following Dark Edge, which was a Hexer Falcons thing called Dark Weapon. A forbidden dark sorcery strikes with blade formed of humanity's darkness. Passed from mother to daughter, this blade was intended for both protection and as a means of taking one's own life. The young girl never swung it more than once. So, she probably killed her mom. Whoever, if it was Karla, it's probably Karla. The other thing about Karla is, because she might be associated with Stockpile Thomas, and Stockpile Thomas lost not just a daughter, but his wife too, that also might be a tiny bit of a reference to that too. If you believe Stockpile Thomas and Yuria and Demon Souls are kind of like connected in some way. Affinity, a forbidden dark sorcery, casts a dark manifestation of humanity. This used to come out of, this used to be a trade from the crows in Dark Souls 1. And I think it was Manus' soul you traded it with. It appears to be an expression of envy, or perhaps love towards another, that will tenaciously pursue its target, even if, like so many human desires, it amounts to nothing but misfortune. So that's what she starts with. We give her the Pyromancy tomes. We can give her both Quelana and Grave Warden ones.
Very well. If this is your wish, I will unravel the thing the best I can. Besides, it would be nice to play monster for once.
So what does she know now? She has Fire Whip, which is pretty useful. It was way more useful in 1 than it was now, but still. Rapport is stupid useful. Firestorm is good, and gives my heart pitter-patters because I used it for farming in Dark Souls 1 in the painted world. You know where. Fire Whip, primal pyromancy taught by Quelana, daughter of the Witch of Izalith. Sweeps foes with a fire whip. The caster manipulates the flames at will, making this an extremely difficult spell to use. Pyromancy is at once the knowledge of controlling flame and the knowledge that control is impossible. It's a paradoxical kind of coin there. Firestorm, primal pyromancy taught by Quelana, a daughter of the Witch of Izalith. Surrounds the caster with multiple pillars of flame. The raging storm is indiscriminate, such is the intrinsic horror of the flame. And Rapport, advanced pyromancy of Quelana, a daughter of the Witch of Izalith. Charms the enemy, making them a temporary ally. The living are lured by flame, and this tendency is elemental to the art of pyromancy. We can give her the Grave Warden Charm.
Another pyromancy tome, have we? And one that resonates with the dark. Yes. Well suited to me. I may be a heretical sorcerer, but you bring me nothing but pyromancy.
What, because I never really summon in NPCs that often. What was it that, Beatrice would use when you summon her in? She uses straight sorceries, right? No? I don't need any help. But if... Oh, look. Okay, so, with the Grave Warden Pyromancy you get off of Wolnir, you get the following. Black Flame. Okay, that's what she uses. Pyromancy discovered by Grave Wardens after High Lord Volnir fell to the Abyss. Creates a giant black flame in hand. Black flames born from the Abyss bear no shadow. They are said to be the impenetrable fires of humanity. This is also kind of where I get my theory about the first flame is one flame, and then you have humanity as the final flame. Considering how humanity sprites in Dark Souls 1 and like pursuers in Dark Souls 2 kind of move and how they act and how their AI is, it's kind of like little flame licks trying to consume and trying to embrace you. Especially in Dark Souls 1. Also from Dark Souls 1, Pyromancy discovered by Grave Wardens after High Lord Wolnir fell to the Abyss, hurls a black fireball. The black flame inflicts dark damage, striking targets with a weighty force. That's kind of important and a link to the Dark Souls 1 version, and the Dark Souls 1 versions from the Artorias of the Abyss DLC. All of those sorceries go through great lengths to describe these sorceries as having a tangible weight, whereas soul sorcery, or like straight sorcery, doesn't really have any weight at all. But all of these black sorceries, because they draw off of your humanity flame instead of like the flame of your soul, or the soul as you consider it, it has a weight to it. Let's see here. Jeez. I have so many. Once Karla gets to Firelink Shrine, you just like hand her a wheelbarrow of books.
Is this a Divine Tome? What on earth are you thinking?
I'm thinking you can read it.
I wouldn't go near a Divine Tome, or any simple miracle.
Oh, pish posh.
The casters of miracles are sure to steer clear of me. So please, don't torture me so.
Pish posh. Just read it.
How could you? Oh. I know.
Just a wheelbarrow of books.
I owe my life to you. Fine. But just this once, I will tell you this tale. But do understand, it will be my first time. I'll have no sniggering.
Also great is they get the Demon Souls Yuria voice to do Karla's voice in Dark Souls 3. It's the same voice.
How could you?
By just, you know, giving it to you? That's how I could do it.
I know.
Just, come on. We already got that dialogue. So with those, she gets Darkblade, Vow of Silence, which is a Londor thing. You see that thrown about like it's going out of style with Wilhelm. Dead Again, which comes out of Dark Souls 2. Deep Protection, and Gnaw. Dead Again was Cloan's thing, and probably something Cloan took when she stumbled out of the Undead Crypt and then kind of forgot. Darkblade. Miracle of the Sable Church of Londor reinforces a right weapon with dark. The third daughter, Liliane, one of the founders of the Sable Church, is said to recount tales that portray the suffering and conflict of Hollows. Maybe actually this is the one that comes out of Felkin. Maybe I had those confused. Darkblade is probably Felkin's, and then this one is something else. That makes a lot more sense. Vow of Silence, Miracle of the Sable Church of Londor, prevents spells in vicinity, including one's own. Members of the Sable Church are all trained swordsmen, each sworn only to their weapons as they bear the leaden silence of Londor. Also, the term leaden silence suggests the whole weightiness of like dark miracles and sorceries and stuff like that, because they draw off of humanity rather than the soul as you consider it. This is a big pain in the butt in Demon Souls, by the way, when you fight Black Phantom, what's her face with the blind. If she knows that you're going to throw out some sorcery, if you're like a sorcery, she'll immediately drop the version of Vow of Silence in Demon Souls. It's really annoying. Dead again. Sacrilegious Miracle of the Sable Church of Londor. Bless corpses, transforming them into traps. Londor, the Hollow Realm, is a society of undead, comprised of the corpses and shades of those who led unsavory lives. Is such a blessing really something one must ponder? Deep Protection, probably the best thing out of this whole list, for anybody, really. Miracle taught to Not Yuria deacons of the Cathedral of the Deep. Slightly boosts attack, damage absorption, and resistance, while also increasing stamina recovery and speed. The Deep was originally a peaceful and sacred place, but became the final rest for many abhorrent things. This tale of the Deep offers protection for those who worship amidst those horrors. And Gnaw, dark miracle taught in the Cathedral of the Deep. Summon insect swarms to feast on foes. These insects, which lurk in the deep, have tiny jaws lined with fangs to tear open the skin and burrow into the flesh in the blink of an eye, causing intense bleeding. That's her name, Black Phantom Selin. That's all, like, whenever I see of the Vow of Silence version in each of the Souls games, I just think of Black Phantom Selin and I just shake my head. I'm like...
Stay safe.
Though I'm still really sad that the blind never made it to Dark Souls 3. Because the blind would look amazing in this graphics engine. Also, I'm sad about the gold tracers, but everybody knows that. I know! It's just so annoying! And you're like, why? Why do I have to fight you? Oh, Black Phantom Selin. The Black Phantoms in Demon Souls, man. The Black Phantom in Tower of Latria 1. I ended up having to cheese for about half an hour, just like shooting him until he leashed, and then shooting me again, and then he'd come back and then leash. The things you do for platinums in these games sometimes. Lots of coins to be picked up here in the Profaned Flame in general. Profaned Capitol, I mean. So, like, the vice that is most associated with the Profaned Capitol is greed. I got Demon Souls Plat, although I'd still probably be hammering away at it if a friend didn't give me a pure Bladestone. Ugh. Everything else wasn't too bad, but like a lot of it is just manipulating world tendencies. And these days, since there's nobody really playing Demon Souls, you can manipulate world tendency pretty easily. But pure Bladestone, getting that to drop naturally is ridiculous.
friend. I, secret of the lands of Katarina, have come to uphold my peace. Let the sun shine upon this Lord of Cinder.
Here he has a face where in the opening he does not. Remember, in every Souls game there's at least one boss fight where it has an item intrinsic to that boss fight in the boss arena. He's why is it targeting his body? I want his head. .6 hours. I've heard some horror stories about it being like way less. I mean, way more. Some things about that. This is the fight that actually taught me about how some of the chained weapon arts work, because I had like no idea how they worked up until then. That the hold L2 into R2 is a separate move from just regular strong attacks. So this needs a 5-second charge, and then while holding it you can pop it. Cinders of the Lord. Cinders of a lord left by Yhorm the giant. If the lords will not return to their thrones themselves, let them return as cinders. Lonely Yhorm became a lord of Cinder to put the profaned flame to rest, knowing full well that those who spoke of him as lord were quite insincere. Prisoner's Chief Ashes, which I have not read yet. Umbral ash of the prisoner's chief of the catacombs. With this, a shrine handmaid will prepare new items. The prisoner chief used his clout to hoard all manner of things, but died without putting them to use. Again, this whole theme in the Profaned Capitol is greed. Just straight greed. Which is a big theme within Dark Souls in general, to be fair, but the Profaned Capitol undid itself because of its greed. Which is at like peak greed. I mean, just look around you. Some of the other areas have their own like sin kind of threading itself through the lore of it, but this one is just really obvious.
It seems I am in your debt once again.
Yep.
My thanks. I could have not kept kept my promise without you. Now, for a final toast. To your valor, and my old friend Yhorm. Long may the sun shine. Well, I'm going to have myself a little nap. The only thing to do really after a nice toast. You are a true friend. Best of luck with your duty. Well, you are a true...
Just gonna keep my camera on him as I peace out. See how long it takes for the system to just... Yep, there it is. Sad too that you actually get souls for him. It's not very many, but you do get souls for him. So you get his Storm Ruler and his shield, and then you pick up his armor. Which means you don't really waste souls buying his armor, because you get them at the end anyway. But yeah, very bittersweet. The other thing that I definitely want to like point out, and I'm sure you guys already know this already, but this sword actually exists in real life. It is based on the Japanese imperial sword called the Kusanagi, which no one has seen the real one of, but there's like replicas in many museums. Like the quote real one is with the Japanese imperial household, which runs the life of the imperial family. But yeah, this is based on the Kusanagi, which is also very cool, but you know. Let's take a look at the soul before I go. Soul of Yhorm the Giant, one of the twisted souls steeped in strength, and a very big flame lick compared to everything else. Used to acquire numerous souls or transposed to extract its true strength. Yhorm is the descendant of an ancient conqueror, but was asked by the very people once subjugated to lead them, serving as both a weighty blade and a stone-hard shield. One wonders if he's like related to like the giants that conquered Drang Lake, because Drang Lake did get its crap kicked in by the giants. But that can't be true, because your character killed the quote last giant in memory and in reality. So that's an interesting thing to think about. I don't know what the consensus is at this moment about it, but cool things to talk about. And the whole area felt agreed. Well, they also didn't like him anyway, because they're jerks. Let me throw those into the box. I don't need these either. Anything I picked up that I can't use? Throw that back in there. very interesting to talk about their... Considering, like, Sulyvahn and Aldrich are a combination of pride and gluttony. You can probably ascribe some major cardinal sins and cardinal virtues to each of the 4 Lords of Cinder. Like, they have some overlap, probably.
Welcome home, Ashley. Speak thine heart's desire. Very well.
It's something I've thought about, but I haven't really thought about it too hard.
Take nourishment from these sovereignless souls.
That should make me good until later, I guess. I should update Mubot onto my level too. What is this? 25? Meh. Here's some ash. Reach into its memory and pull some stuff out to tell me. I really need to buy the tower key. Actually, maybe I'll take out one of my souls of a champion and do that. I don't like using those for leveling. That should be 25. This is neat, considering it goes through all 3 games. Although this game remembers that it was wielded by way of white clerics. In Dark Souls 2, it talks about how it was blessed once, but it doesn't have that power anymore. I need to... I think I might be picking, like... It looks... I love the Canvas Talisman in this game because it looks like Rhea of Thorland. Like, the body of Rhea of Thorland. I might be putting together a Google Doc to cross-reference items that survive across the 3 games, just to see, just to like have them side by side, what their item descriptions are. It's probably something somebody's done, but like, I don't know. Alright, so now that we have the tower key, finally. Which is good because I had to de-ember anyway, and I bet I'm gonna fail this jump. Mostly because I have to go through Irithyll, and I like de-embering for that. Let me grab this ladder first. Can't imagine why. And Patches closes the door behind you because he's Patches. And we pick up the Firekeeper Soul. Soul of a Firekeeper who is said to have returned from the Abyss. This Firekeeper preserves the bonfire and serves its champion. She is said to have soothed and accepted the dark sigil, which has tainted her soul. And yet her soul will one day embed itself in the bosom of yet another Firekeeper. And they use the same icon from Dark Souls 1's Firekeeper souls, which were used to increase your Estus and stuff like that. But here I think it is mean to show how her soul has been frayed and basically torn apart by accepting the dark sigil.
Places are better left alone, you know. Ooh, sorry. Am I a tad too late?
Have no fear. There's beauty in there. Besides, you lost your own.
Plenty of company, right?
I'm just shaking my head. You can't see it. And I know I do these things and you guys can't see it. But I'm just shaking my head at Patches right now. I'm so glad. Patches! Well, I'll make a good try of it. Hooray! I'm not dead. Estus Ring is a neato ring, considering it has lore about the family Lothric on it, by extension of its culture. A green ring crafted from shards increases HP restored by Estus Flask. This ring was entrusted to a certain Firekeeper, but in the end she never met her champion, and the ensuing tragic farce became a favorite tale of the masses. So just remember, when they say a certain, it doesn't necessarily mean it is somebody we've actually ever met. Because we've never met this Firekeeper. And the Firekeeper from the Fire Soul is just... yeah. So, like, the general timeline for this is that Gundyr was awakened as champion, imprisoned by the family Lothric because they didn't want to have anything to do with that. They didn't want to give up their mandate. The Firekeeper missed him because he was imprisoned and hidden away. And, or alternatively, it was, what's her face? We'll meet her later. But she's also wearing Firekeeper attire, which is probably not a mistake. And so, that became like a joke of the masses, who also kinda sorta referenced and, celebrated the linking of the fire. But guess who's out? I've been waiting for this dialogue to show up for like the past 3 sessions, you guys. It's about time.
Poor wretched souls. Be they lord or legend, the curse shows no mercy. What a shame.
Yeah. A really telling bit of dialogue, and kind of reveals what this grave is all about. He's carrying, as an aside, he's carrying it's a claymore, right? So he has a claymore. He has given up his ferrum arms. His sword is right there. So he's probably praying to the wolf's blood, and he probably recognizes this as a certain someone's grave, considering untenanted graves later. But this is probably his sword, and he probably gave it up like he gave up the pointy hat, and he picked up a claymore along the way. It's a nice tableau. And now that he knows pretty much the truth from top to bottom of being a Lord of Cinder, he thinks it's a goddamn sham. Of which it pretty much is, but you know. It's also why I kind of like the Secret Betrayal ending a lot more. Alright, let's move on. I've got a de-ember. Because Irithyll, right outside of Pontiff Sullivan, is PvP headquarters, and while I don't mind PvP, I've only got like 2 hours. So rip, no death run. As an aside, if anybody wants, I don't need those souls. If anybody wants to have a fight club, let me know. We can definitely do that while chatting about different lore bits. My platinum character on Dark Souls 3 has all of the, or all of the ones that matter, Covenant rewards, so we'll talk about those at the end of this playthrough. Gosh, Irithyll's so pretty. One of the Twitter handles I follow actually tweeted a picture of the flying buttresses that were used to model the flying buttresses here in Dark Souls architecture. They tweeted a photo of the flying buttresses from the French castle that they used to model Anor Londo. I think today. It could have been yesterday, but it was probably today. Great picture. Very interesting how the moon, which is associated with Gwendolyn, is always kind of situated right next to the ruins that is his older brother's. And also a huge light, and as we know, FromSoft loves directing your attention with light sources. So that's what bigger piece of light than the thing in the skybox? We have a few slaves. And again, these are all women. You can tell from their clothes being basically rags of a gown. Jerks. I don't have any more Lloyd's talismans, do I? Every freaking time. I thought I was going to get a face full of mimic. I wonder where everybody is right now. I think it is Thursday, so... Hey, Zed. Alright, so Golden Ritual Spear. Pretty important. I make mention of it when I talk about, in my essay for Sulyvahn, and what he did to the remaining Darkmoon Knights. A ritual spear presented to Darkmoon Knights before Sulyvahn claimed the title of Pontiff can also be used as a staff. Sorceries cast using this weapon channel the wielder's faith. All the statuary in this boss arena are all Darkmoon Knight stuff. Pretty much Gwendolyn. Pretty much holding a version of the spear we just got. And that's basically a stylized version of Gwendolyn. So you can assume that this whole cathedral was a Darkmoon Knight cathedral until Sulyvahn came and conquered the place. And then he probably fed it to a mimic. Fed the ritual spear to a mimic. Jerkwads. They have magic he wants. That's kind of his MO for most of the competitor schools of thought in the game. Besides that, he probably wanted to subvert and remove the old royalty, which he does with the dancer. And some other things. But moon magic is very particularly its own thing. I'm just waiting for one of those Drang Lake Knights to, like, leash back to his corner. You know nothing, Jon Snow. Drang Lake Twinspears. Paired spears of the Drang Knights, proclaimed descendants from the land known for the legend of the Linking of the Fire. When the Drang Knights disbanded, they scattered across the lands as sellswords. They quickly became known for shieldless, aggressive tactics that struck fear in the hearts of men. Hey, Toby. Not a problem. I love the tree. The tree loves me. The tree is fireproof. In the ultimate irony in Dark Souls, the trees are fireproof. We'll go down here later. Damn it. I was trying to get out of there. After the failed parry, I was like, oh, I need to heal. But I did get some ashes. Which should give us unlimited stock of large Titanites. Umbral ash of an armor merchant from Eastern land. Surely the handmaid of Firelink Shrine can turn this into a few new things. The merchant, the captain of a clan of hunters, was fascinated with weaponry. I think they were hired by Lothric to go gank him, but like they failed, and so the saddle set is where it is. Like, the idea of Osiris is very mad king. He follows a lot of the same tropes of his, like, other mad monarchs. Yeah, he was... Yeah. Consumed, not just the perfect heir, consumed with the ambition to prove that he was special because he's a king. And that's an important distinction coming off of Dark Souls 2, where they ask you what the qualities of a king are. Kingliness doesn't make the man. Man makes the kingliness, is what I think the game wants to say. Like, he wasn't special because he was a king. Being a king, he made being a king special. Damn it. It broke my lock on, like, at the wrong time. Yes, he was the former king of Lothric. He was the father of Lorien and Lothric. But he was convinced that because he's a king, he was special. Not that he made being a king special. A lot of people do, and I do not. Guinevere is a nothing character. I kind of just want to kill this thing now. He's leashing, but Guinevere is, I don't think we ever met the real Guinevere, and I do think that the Guinevere you meet in Dark Souls 1 is nothing more than an illusion brought on by an illusion and like a version of Guinevere that would appeal. That should be off. I will have to talk to Yuria. Yeah, she may not actually be giant. She might not even actually look like how people have seen her in Dark Souls 1. I think she's just a stylized version in the illusion magic of Gwendolyn. Like, the simplest, I try and make my theories as the simplest answer is probably the right one. And the simplest answer is that Guinevere has nothing to do with the Queen of Lothric. Just that the Queen of Lothric doesn't matter to the story other than the fact that she peaced out. That's that. I need to talk to Yuria because something went amiss with the quest. Wrong way. I think the Ash Heap Lady, the Ash Heap Lady is probably Emma, because they share the same VA. And, which also reminds me that we're probably not in the real world during the main game at all. They're all the personal hells of each of the Lords of Cinder, brought on with the remnants of their power, fueled by a remnants of, like, a memory of the First Flame, creating their fiefdoms, which allows all of their churning homes to churn around. So one of the big proofs of that is that a lot of the enemies in Dark Souls 3 fall to Ash. And as we know from Dark Souls 2, Ash is memory. And so Emma is probably a pilgrim the entire time. But The memory of her in Lorien and Lothric's personal hell brought about by their power as the Lord of Cinder, and fueled by whatever remnant of their mandate of embers that they have, remembers Emma as she was as a high priestess. Which also puts into question her entire motivations, if she's just a memory.
The time is right to greet him. The boy awaits thee in the hidden dark moon chamber of Anor Londo.
Alright. Thanks, Yuria. I have a wedding. Everybody's invited. Hors d'oeuvres will be at the reception. Like, we don't enter the real world until we touch Eleonora's egg. We aren't, like, released from the meddling or the powers of all these disparate individuals until we touch Eleonora's egg as the last sort of gate that way. You guys, I have to dress up for my wedding! Ah! Oh my gosh, I have fun. It's true. Looking fancy.
Welcome, our gracious lord. Your spouse awaits you. You are very near. Please take the sword of a vow. May you be the truest lord of Londo yet.
Really important that they actually animate that, because usually when an NPC gives you a thing, it's never animated. But that is animated. Really important that they did that.
Your spouse awaits you. You are very near. May you be the truest lord of Londo yet.
Alright, let's talk about the Sword of Avowal. Because I know a lot of people have a lot of different ideas and opinions about that, so we might as well talk about them. Key items are over here. Ceremonial Sword of Londor cannot be equipped as a weapon. Although in some cases you probably could have and cut content, but neither here nor there. It is said that a rite of wedlock will presage a true hollow lord. Your spouse's name is Henri, who patiently awaits a rightful lord, deep within the mausoleum. Hard to say whether I say that Henri was manipulated into accepting a Lord of Hollows and to submit to that and was like a perfect target considering Henri's own insecurities about their own courage and strength and stuff like that. So once Horus catches death from your axe, Henri is even more of a target from Londor and submits to all this because they don't think of themselves as strong enough. Second thing, Sword of Avowal is probably made of bronze, considering how it's oxidized green. As you know from the Pyromancer set, bronze was used as a way to keep off or ward off evil spirits and to keep the darkness at bay. Ritualistically used that way. But the Sword of Avowal it looks like it is made out of bronze itself. Third thing, the Sword of Avowal is all over the place, the Ring City. So, there's a lot of options there as to how to read what the Sword of Avowal actually is, whether Londor took the idea and redefined it for their own means and their own ends, or if they had like half of the information from the Ring City and then just tried to fill out the rest of it as it was going along. Lots of things to talk about with the Sword of Avowal by itself. For now, I'm going to let the Havoc Cloth Physics Engine swing this gown around. Brass helm. Sashay down the catwalk. Alright. It's enough of the RP walking. Let's grab the ring. On the other side in Dark Souls 1, there's another ring. Yeah, the Havoc Cloth Physics Engine is actually somewhat new. By the way, the most resilient dried flowers in all of games. Right up there. Those flowers have been there since Dark Souls 1. Implied to be, like, either Gwendolyn's flowers for Gwyn or what have you. Which is probably where and why Londor chooses this place for their rite of avowal, because this is symbolically Gwyn's tomb, and Londor is all about taking the power away from the gods. And then you pick up the dark sigils that Henri had. Bacon! What's wrong with bacon face, Toby? Huh? Huh? I have cheekbones to the gods now. Alright, let me switch to actual armor. Let's go here. Put that on. That doesn't really work. And now that you've taken your vows, this person can die, and does so. Which is probably actually what the quote reward in in Londor's religion and faith is the ability to die, which, like, is really enticing for undead who are destined to be undead all the way till they become skeletons, and even then after that. The ability to die is probably really, really enticing for hollows and the undead. Let's go pay a visit to a certain sister. Yorshka. Enigmatic in the fact they don't talk very much about her at all.
Name thyself, stranger. I am Yorshka, captain of the Dark Moon Knights. What beckoned thee to such a place? Thou thinkst too. Very well. Captain to this knightless company I remain. I will grant thee purpose. Thou'st journeyed far. Hear my voice. If thou shalt swear by the covenant to become a shadow of Father Gwyn and Sister Guinevere, a blade that shall hunt the foes of our lords, then I place thee under the aegis and the power of the Dark Moon. Thou art now a blade of the Dark Moon, the only knight of our company. Swear this oath and face thy solemn duty.
She says exactly the same words Gwendolyn says in Dark Souls 1. She wears a crown. Very similar crown to the one you get at the end of the game. The Man-Eater crown. She is blonde, she has scales. A gown. A bracelet, actually. I wonder if that bracelet's on anything else. It's on a Priscilla. And fingers and toes and stuff like that. A lot of people link her to Priscilla. And there's... here's a crazy theory. She is related to Gwendolyn, but she's not his sister. She might even be a daughter. Now, before you kill me, hear me out. When you kill Aldrich and take his soul, you get a miracle version of Priscilla's scythe out of the soul, and it describes how there was a pale young girl in hiding, and it was because Aldrich was eating Gwendolyn. So what if Gwendolyn went into the painted world every so often and hung out with Priscilla every so often? What if? I'm just putting it out there. I don't believe it myself, but there's a read that you might be able to take and do with. Because remember what miracles are in Souls. Miracles are stories that are empowered with just the recounting of it. Aldrich dreamed of the pale young girl in hiding because he was eating Gwendolyn's memories. How would Gwendolyn have known about the pale young girl in hiding? But it could also be that Gwendolyn is dreaming about this pale young girl in hiding because she's pale and young and stuff like that. So there's the counter. So the pale young girl in hiding could just be Yorshka. So there's the counter theory too. That he's just thinking about this girl, but she doesn't look like she ever had the scythe. So there's something to think about, I guess. And we also know that Yorshka's spear... Also, Yorshka is a name Gwendolyn gave her. Yorshka is a title, kinda, sorta. And what we know from Yorshka's spear is that its weapon art drains your FP, and that is mechanically as close to what Dark Souls 2 describes the darkness as than anything. Let me just show it back real quick. It is... So, Yorshka's spear, this treasure gifted to the Yorshka Church, is enchanted by a soporific spell and was surreptitiously worshipped by Irithyll slaves. As a weapon, it is part spear and part hammer, the former allowing thrusting and the latter allowing strikes. Raise the spear in prayer and temporarily wear down FP with each strike. So, like, Aldrich gets a version of Priscilla's scythe in miracle form because he knows the memory that he ate from Gwendolyn. So, very interesting, very, very striking. The connections might be there to draw. I have to throw on Cat Ring. Yeah, all of these worlds are probably made by lords, so... I'm like a cat with a ball of yarn. I will, like, tinker with a theory until it makes some sense, and then I'll just move on, I guess. Sad that the biggest piece of lore for Yorshka comes from killing her. For her chime. I do feel bad for her. She doesn't know who she is. She was given an identity, much like Gwendolyn was given his identity. But she doesn't know better. Because she's very innocent. Let's head back. And then I guess I will tackle the Pontiff Beasts. Twinsies! Twinsies!
Welcome home, Ashima. Speak thine heart's desire.
I want a twin.
Very well, then touch the darkness within me. Acknowledge it.
I love the Firekeeper set. I love this set. It is cool. Let's go deal with some Pontiff Beasts and get the Fat Ring. Hopefully. The Pontiff Beasts always give me a crap load of trouble. I don't know, what do you guys think about all of that? Yorshka and her connection to maybe the dark, and her connection to memories of Priscilla, and like her connection to Gwendolyn. The whole thing actually made me feel worse for killing Gwendolyn when I did kill Gwendolyn last December. Like, I'm gonna kill you, but I'm not gonna like it. I really need to attune another spell, because I have another slot, and I keep forgetting I have another slot. So that one is an item gank, because this one actually aggroes before the other one. Yeah, it's true. Gwendolyn deserved his own life, really. Ah, damn it. Nobody told me Great Chaos Fire Orb was so good. Actually, somebody did mention something about Great Chaos Fire Orb being awesome, but it didn't tell me how awesome. Jeez. It's so good. Holy crap! So good! Any other suggestions for my other, like, my empty spell slot? Because I have a fourth. It's so good. So this is Archdeacon McDonnell. He is one of the other archdeacons. I'll remember that. He has dark ooze coming out of his eyes. Kind of looks like roots, but it also kind of looks like black humanity ooze coming out of him. He's dead, but his body still has power. The one thing I've never really heard anybody talk about is what covenants actually are. Because, like, people are like, oh, it's just a covenant, it's just a thing. But, like, covenants have this supernatural power component to them, and they kind of always had. To the point that they're a lot more punitive in Dark Souls 1 when you leave them in the wrong way. But I'm not sure if anybody has really linked the idea and the power of covenants to the greater ontological scale. But this is our Smo over here. He's very big. He's very gluttonous. He's also blue. And he's got his chime and his scholar's candle, his scholar's sword thing. It's actually very big in his hand. Jeez. Chaos Fire Orb. Nuts. We also picked up the Favor and Protection Ring, which is important to Anor Londo, just as an aside. A ring symbolizing the favor of the goddess Fina, whose fateful beauty is mentioned in legend. True to the fickle nature of Fina's favor, her ring increases max HP, stamina, and maximum equip load. Fina is one of those off goddesses that nobody like talks about, really. Like, I guess they talk about in relation to Lautrec, but they don't talk about it because, like, she's not far more mentioned like Velka or Guinevere, if you consider her a goddess at all. But it's suggested that one of those adherents to Fina, or the last one, or some guy who was playing the role of Lautrec, got caught by our dear friend Sulyvahn and turned into one of those Sulyvahn beasts. Sulyvahn was not a nice man. I call him a tyrant in my essay. But he's fascinating, nonetheless. Let's see, what else do you got now? Henri's stuff is here. Lautrec stuff is here because this is from the guy I just mentioned, the Pontiff Beast that carries the Ring of Favor. He also had this armor, and it lands here as soon as you kill him. This is Henri stuff, which lands here as soon as you kill them. There's Eastern armor from the Eastern Ashes. Here's Karla's armor from the Prisoner's Chief's thing, which is fun to wear for the Demon Souls reference. And it looks great in this graphics engine, side note. And good to have. This special ring, wood, grain, crest on its surface, slows equipment degradation. Wielders of swords originating in the same region follow practice of inscribing special words on the blades of their swords, and are naturally drawn to this ring.
Ashen One.
Did I ever give you Logan's scroll?
Back again, little.
No.
My, you've been quite the discovery. This is a scroll of the prodigious Big Hat Logan, a masterful sorcerer, long missed in Midnight. And now we have his scroll, right here in my very hands.
So Logan gives you stuff like Homing Soul Mass and Soul Spear. Pretty much what you would expect from Logan. Sorcery developed by Big Hat Logan, the great sorcerer who left the Dragon School in an age long past. Releases a Homing Soul Mass. This sorcery may offer a clue as to what Logan sought, but further investigation suggests that attraction to living things mirrors the nature of the dark, specifically affinity, or as it was in Dark Souls 1, pursuers. So this gets kind of back to what Logan was after in Dark Souls 1 and what people think Logan was after in Dark Souls 1, considering there was always that kind of shade in all of the descriptions for Logan himself too. Like, I think it suggests that there was this intrinsic or natural inclination of Logan to try and use his magic in the same way as the dark would use magic too. So like Homing Soul Mass mirrors affinity because he remembered affinity and he really wanted to make something like that, or really wanted that ability back or something like that. What do you guys think? Sorcery developed by Big Hat Logan, the great sorcerer who left the Dragon School in an age long past. Fires a soul spear. The spear boasts superior penetrating power and is a testament to Logan's strength in battle. Yeah, I have to start buying his stuff to get his dialogues. I only have 1,000. Alright, let's do Upper Anor Londo now. Like, I think some of the Dark Souls 1 stuff about Logan kind of suggests that he was doing some really kind of subtly unethical things, and he didn't really mind Seath doing unethical things as long as he was getting knowledge out of it. Yeah, like, this is probably my strongest of the 4 games. Like, I've played it. Like, I'll show you all of my builds that I have in this game. Like, I've played this game a lot. Just let me know if you want me to, like, slow down. Oh, I'm gonna get killed by the other one. I'm out of time. Yeah, there he is. So you expect the lightning gargoyles to be around here, and they're not. In Dark Souls 1, you come through this castle the complete opposite direction. Like, your exit is through here, and there was a gate right there, but it's gone now. DF3 is comparatively short. It's actually kind of refreshing because I think I always get like exhausted going through Dark Souls 2, because Dark Souls 2 was really dense if you decide to try and do as much as possible. And so, like, because of that density in Dark Souls 2, I always kind of feel a little exhausted by the end. Some landmarking, some quick landmarking. That tower in the middle is the giant tower. This building over here is the Abyss Watcher's Mausoleum. Actually, no, I'm wrong. Hold on. This is the Cathedral of the Deep, I think. That's the Giant's Tower. That's the bridge to Lothric. That's the Mausoleum. Yeah. Like, that should be the Mausoleum. That should be the bridge to Lothric. That's the Giant Tower. And this should be the Cathedral. Let me know if I have that backwards. Yeah, that's the Giant Tower. Like, I like a lot of the DS2 bosses, but DS2 just has too much of too much. It has too much. Like, my favorite part of DS2 is everything after the Shrine of Winter. Like, that's my favorite half of DS2. There's so much to go through to get to that half of DS2. The Giant's Coal. Coal used for weapon infusion. It is said that the giant blacksmith of Anor Londo was once the blacksmith of the gods. Because they don't know, because he's dead and no one's going to be telling them. There's lightning in that coal, by the way. Give to the blacksmith in the shrine to allow the use of gems for lightning, simple chaos infusion. Finally! I can finally infuse this axe chaos or something. So I can pick up on the scaling. Rip the hole in the wall. Yeah, this way. This way is the easiest way down. Rip the bedrooms of the gods. So rude. Cheapers. That pyromancy is not messing around. Yeah, that's what I heard. I was hoping I would be able to throw around Profane Flame at him, but I think I'm still somewhat short. Let me refill my FP, I think. Pick up some other things. Look, a Red Eyes Knight. All these knights are so rude. What happened to being knightly? Alright. Let's go deal with Aldrich. Oh, come on. Really? I always get hit by that stupid thing. Yeah, I have to peace out. Now consider that miracle with regards to Uncle Gale and his boss fight. In his boss fight, he can force summon himself to your side if you get far enough away. And if you look really closely during that boss fight, when he does that, he drops his own summon sign and it force summons himself to you. This miracle seems to run on somewhat of the same, some of the same stuff. Get a bone ready. Like it seems to be a miracle based on how summoning works. Very interesting. I'm gonna proc the cinematic and peace out. And the one thing I didn't get to talk about when I was destroying Aldrich was that his boss theme music also tells his tale. It is like a cross between Gwendolyn's boss theme music, Moonlight Butterfly's theme music, and a little bit of Nito. See ya. I love the mirroring of those cinematics, by the way. At the very beginning of the game, you're going south towards one door, and then you get stopped because Vort was porting himself in, and you stop and you turn around. And then on the complete other side, you're trying to get closer to the Basin of Vows, and then you have to stop and turn around because the dancer is being summoned in. It's like symmetry. It's like poetry. They rhyme, to quote George Lucas. Pontiff Sulyvahn. Alright, let's check on infusions. $186.27 drops it to 115 plus 12 and 118 plus 85, so that's 233, but split damage. Which doesn't really matter because I'm going to be, I think I'm going to head into the Ashes of Ariandel now. I can always use a Shriving Stone if it doesn't really work. I'm out of chunks. Never mind. $10,000. I need to pick these up. And this one? and that one. See if he has anything I need to pick up real quick. Not really. To explain really right quick what I did, I infused my shield simple to give myself some extra FP regain while I have the shield active. I'm trying out Chaos Infusion on this build because I'm not improving my normal offensive stats anymore, but I am improving intelligence and faith, so that might scale a bit better. Which is kind of moot because I'm going to go for the Onyx Blade now anyway. But there you go. Let's pick up a jaunty hat. Okay, oh yeah, I didn't, yeah. Dancer I actually have to turn up the volume for because she's choreographed with her theme music, and so it's actually not very visual with her moveset, but it is auditory with her moveset. She's timed to waltz timing, so it's a 3/4 time. Will I? Will I? Fine. Stranger danger. This is when you realize, hey, those Corvians can actually talk. But aside from their screeing.
Yes, of course. No exception. We all see terrible things. Which is safe now.
It seems like your character tells him, I've seen some terrible things. And that's why he responds that way. Again, sometimes the game suggests that you say something, but you don't actually say anything. But you, like, say something. I'm here slightly early, but I kind of want that Onyx Blade. By the way, since I did not read them, this is Cinders of a Lord Aldrich. Cinders of a Lord left by Aldrich, Devourer of Gods. If the Lords will not return to their thrones themselves, let them return as cinders. Aldrich became a Lord by devouring men, but was disillusioned with his throne, and so took to devouring gods instead. Basin of Vows. Chalice used in old ceremony in which Lothric knights take their vows. It is only a formality now, but it remains as an empty practice. Place this basin at a statue of a beheading knight. Soul of Aldrich should still be here. Yeah, and it's blue. Soul of Aldrich, one of the twisted souls steeped in strength. Used to acquire many souls, or transposed to extract its true strength. When Aldrich ruminated on the fading of the fire, it inspired visions of a coming age of the deep sea. He knew the path would be arduous, but he had no fear. He would devour the gods himself. Here's a question. What, like, let me back up a little bit. In Japanese, the word for blue is aoi. But aoi is kind of translated as blue, but blue doesn't really have a concept in Japanese. It's also kind of pale green. What is the color meaning for blue in various different cultures? Yeah, blue and green are mixed in, at least in Japanese. Like, you can use the word aoi for both. You never kick when you want to. You know what I forgot to grab? I forgot to grab the Sun Princess ring and the ring of the Firstborn from Irithyll. I'll pick them up later. That fire damage now on the axe. staggering them. So it would be interesting that blue is a recurring color. The cleric starting set is marked by its vibrant blue robes. Frida's set is supposedly blue. Aldrich's soul is blue. The Deacon's soul is blue. And the Crystal Sage's soul is a sky blue. Yeah. And, you know, that's true too, but like, I wonder if it's not... Okay, that was a lie! Yeah, like, I wonder if there's something to the fact that they use blue for the clerics who are super corrupt to the point where, like, clerics are at the hands of the cleric starting set guys are all Beyblade enemies in the Ring City. We'll go through Millwood Central soon. Yeah. I wonder if there's something to that just to remind everybody, garb worn by a cleric turned undead, unmistakable vibrant blue hues. It is said that the blue-robed travelers were entrusted with a duty. They bore large covers on their backs to ensure that they would not become seedbeds for spreading darkness. Blue souls being the deacons, the crystal sages, and Aldrich himself. Frida's dress is also blue. Blue is also Frost. Blue trotches. Hey, I totally forgot about that. And blue is crystal gem, and blue can be a dark indigo, maybe? The color of the darkness. And maybe the clerics give the undead versions of themselves the blue robes to signify that they're undead. I'm very interested to know if there's an actual theory to be had there because of with their use of blue. I love Wilhelm.
Listen carefully.
You know I'm gonna kill you later, right?
What's keeping you? Go on. Right inside. Show respect. And let Lady Frida speak for you.
Same. Like, her dress is supposed to be blue, even though it kind of looks green. You see that bonfire? Well, take it and get the heck out. And as a cleric, she probably made the chill bite ring, using the knowledge gained from like Earl Arstor way back in the day. Yeah, she's ass, so she sees it too. And the other way of just interpreting that is like, hey, you see that bonfire? Get the heck out. And you say something now too. Alright. He's all set. It is a good speech. I think I'm going to make it to the next bonfire before I need to start calling it a night. Well, bye then. Man. You can't kill me, I kill me! Jump. Oh, crystal lizards. Whee! Whee! Considering most of the animations for your protagonist come out of Dark Souls 1, in Dark Souls 3, I think Zuli the Witch has, like, dug right deeply into the files and found, like, the well, what is it emote that, I'm surprised it didn't do the whole slide thing sooner. Hey guys, sorry about your impending death. And you die out of hand. He scared me the first time, and so he dies every time. Oh, I was way off. These guys are the Freddy Kruegers, man. Freddy Kruegers. They do damage real fast. Switch to the other bonfire. Hate fighting the Corvian Knights. I'm probably not alone in that. Alright, well, time to run. Gentlemen. Whee! Gentlemen. But I get it though, the Freddy Krueger is basically your mid-boss. Ha! You missed! Nerd. You get your Ember back because you probably died to the Freddy Krueger at least once. How do you know? There's some sort of prophecy no one's told me about? Sure. I'll do some more a thorough exploration probably tomorrow, but I'm just gonna book it for alright. Not this side. Stop trying to push me, you jerks. Stop tying to toxic. So not nice. I want to give it give fighting Wilhelm a try. Before I call it. Ah, he summons in. That's interesting. Did you guys see that? Like, he wasn't just sitting there, he looked like he summoned himself in. So, the contraption key. The key to the contraption leading to the attic of the archive found on the edge of the Corvian settlement. After Sir Wilhelm led a white-haired woman to the attic of the library, he kept this key as if it were his life. So it also shows that the Corvians, before their plague took them over, were well-learned individuals, as well as faithful, because there's a little chapel right there next to you. Like, he looks like he's being pulled up out of the floor like an invader or like a summoned in person. Like, not that he's using the untrue dark ring, but it looks like he's being pulled up out of the floor like a summoned individual is. Really interesting. Like, he could be using the untrue dark ring, but just the way he looks like he's animating as he's popping in. Like, I first thought that was just the game just putting him in there when you get close enough, but... Interesting. All right. There's a lot to go back over with Ashes of Oriondel, but I did really want to get the Onyx Blade. So... here it is. Let's quickly read it. Elfrida, the eldest among her sisters and leader of the Sable Church, bestowed this sword to her knight. Only, the sword was a farewell gift, and acceptance signified the knight's resignation from Elfrida's service. Yeah. Or like a half-light summon. Enwreath blade with black flame, born of her similarly hued flame that smolders within her. And the black flame, as we know from the pyromancy that Karla sells us, is a humanity flame. So she's burning with humanity. I need another twinkle. But that's a +6. +6 normal. So, what does everybody think? Any, like, thoughts, questions, concerns? Thoughts I started but didn't finish? Wow, this seems faster than the Claymore. Alright, we've got a new toy. We'll be actually exploring Ariandel tomorrow. Hey, Hunter. Not a problem. There's always Twitch VOD until I can get it Twitch timestamped on YouTube. But thank you everybody for joining me, and we'll see you next time.